We've been working on drawing this really cool Monstera leaf with the pen tool and Illustrator, and I'm really excited for this next tutorial because I'm going to show you some ways of adding shading and just making it really polished and finished. So I think you're going to learn some good tips in this tutorial. Okay, so here we are with the original leaf and line work recreated on the left, and then on the right is an example of the direction that we're headed in with creating the shading for this leaf. Now, the first thing that I like to do, let me move this out of the way, is when I'm working with shading, I like to work on a copy of the shape that I'm actually trying to shade. And to do this, I'm going to use Command or Control C to copy and then Command or Control F to paste in front. And that just pastes a leaf copy in front of the original. And now I'm going to just nudge it out of the way using the arrow keys on my keyboard. Now, you might need to set this up beforehand. So to do this, I'm going to Preferences. That shortcut is Command or Control K. And right up here at the top is your keyboard increment. My document unit of measure right now is set to points. And so for 1 inch, I have 72 points. If I were to just type in 1 inch here and hit the tab key, Illustrator just does the math and changes that to 72 points. So you can set this to whatever increment gets your artwork sort of out of the way enough so that you're not having to tap your arrow keys a million times to move your art out of the way. All right, so I'm just going to click OK. And now with this leaf, I'm going to go ahead and make another copy. So Command or Control C, Command or Control F. This puts a copy directly in front of the original. And now I'll go over to my transparency panel and change this to a multiply blending mode. And I'll change the percentage here to 40%, make that a little bit lighter. So now this is what I'm going to be cutting down to make my shadow. So there's several tools that you can use for this. One that is kind of old-fashioned that I like to use is the knife tool. And if I click on this and select this leaf and then go over to the eraser tool right here, the eraser tool, the scissors tool, and the knife are all together, all your cutting tools here. So I'm going to click on the knife tool, and just quickly to demonstrate this, you can just slice through a shape like this and then go to your white arrow, select the inner shape, and delete it. So this is a really fast way to add very simple shading to an object. I'm going to undo to get back to the uncut version. And one thing that's really important is that the knife tool will slice through anything that is below it. So make sure that you have what you want to slice selected first. Otherwise, you'll be cutting the leaf below. All right, so I get the knife tool. Now, this is not the most precise tool in the world, and so it helps to draw a little slowly. And for something like this where I want just sort of these really simple curves here, the knife tool is actually a good tool for this. Then I can go over here and just do a really quick cut here. Maybe another one right there. And then with my arrow, I can select and delete the extra. So knife tool is a great way of going about this. Now let me go ahead and I'll take these pieces out. And I'll show you another way because there are so many different ways of doing things in Illustrator. It really all depends on the art you're working on. So let's say you need something more precise than the knife tool. You could use the eraser tool. If you double click on the eraser tool, you can see there are a lot of different settings that you can set here. And this tool also just allows you to carve through things. But I'm going to undo that because I want to show you the pencil tool. Now the pencil tool is much more precise. So if I double click on this tool, you can see you have the scale here and you can decide to have more accurate paths, which will ultimately give you more anchor points, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. It really all depends. In this case, I'm just going to dial it back up to smooth because I really want smooth and simple paths for this artwork. So I'm going to click OK. And I will just start drawing here. And oh, by the way, as I'm drawing, I'm seeing a blue line here that is a little difficult to see against the green background. So let me go ahead and open up my layers panel, double click on the layer, and just change this to red. That way I can see it a little bit better. All right, let me delete that. And then I'm going to do the same thing I was doing before, just drawing a shape here. But this time I'm drawing a total shape. I'm not cutting through anything. Now I'm going to go and close this shape. So I'm going all the way back up to the top. And when I see that O, I can close the shape, making a closed shape. Then with my eyedropper tool, the shortcut is I. I'll sample the shadow color from the other shadow. And now I can use the Pathfinder here. So I'm going to select both of these, the leaf and the shadow shape that I just created, and then go over to the Pathfinder and click on this Pathfinder right here, intersect. And what that does is it just takes everything that is in the intersection of the two shapes and gives me that. So now I have shadow shapes just like I have here on the right. Now in this case, they're part of a group. When you use the Pathfinder, very often the results are grouped. And if that's a problem, I could always ungroup this, but I'm actually going to leave them like that. Then I'm going to select my other shadow shapes and just nudge these into place. So this is why I love to have my keyboard increments set up so that nudging is really easy. So just because I want to show some differentiation between the left and right shading, I'm going to go to my transparency panel and I need to ungroup the group so I can actually see the transparency setting here on the individual paths. And it's multiply and 40. I'm going to change this to 30% just so it's a little lighter on one side. And I'll just group those back together. Command or Control G. Now I'm going to draw some of the highlight shapes. And again, I'm just going to use the pencil tool for this. So I'll start here and just do something really very simple. And then sort of tracing along the center rib here, I'm going to close this shape like that. Then eyedropper the background color. And then I'll go over again to my transparency panel. And this time I'll give it a screen blending mode of like 30%. Let's see how that looks. All right. Now what I need to do here is put the line work in front. So the shortcut for bring to front is Command Shift right bracket or Control Shift right bracket. And I'll grab my pencil tool again and add another little highlight over here. Same thing, going to copy that appearance with my eyedropper tool. And then I'm going to draw with my pencil tool. The shortcut is N. Another highlight. Close that. Eyedropper to select that color. And if you don't like the way that a shape that you draw with the pencil tool looks, you can always go in with your white arrow and work with the anchor points and the curve handles. But with the pencil tool, you also have the option of using the smooth tool to just sort of smooth out areas like that. So the smooth tool is great. And when you have the pencil tool, you can also get the smooth tool by holding Option or Alt. Now, that didn't work for me that time. This is an option here. If you double click on the pencil tool, go Option key toggles to smooth tool, then click OK. And now you won't have to go back and forth to the tool panel to get the smooth tool. All right, one more pencil tool path that I'm going to draw. One of the trademark Monstera leaf holes here. Close that. Now with the smooth tool, let me just make it a little bit of a smoother shape. And now to see what this looks like, let me go ahead and sample the artboard white color, and looks like I need to change that transparency to normal and 100%. Now I can see that. So this is just going to sort of allow me to preview what this shape looks like, maybe get it a little bit smaller like that. All right, so now I have one last tip for you, and that is if you want to use a shape like this to just cut through everything below it, there's an easier way than using the Pathfinder, and that is to go to Object, Path, and divide objects below. So when you have that shape selected, just choose Divide Objects Below, and it cookie cutters through everything below it. And you'll see that when I grab one shape here and delete it, and another shape here and delete it. So we've cleanly cut through everything, and now there's a hole that our background color can show through. And so this wraps up our 3-part Monstera leaf demonstration. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. My name is Laura Coyle, and if you'd like to see more Illustrator tutorials, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you for watching.